of the Men with the Mantle Holy Convocation 2023 call to Call of Duty. Definitely want to take the time to welcome everybody who is watching us here and preparing for the final light night. There's so much going on. What do you feel like, Brother Dion?
I feel great. You know, it's night three. We've had 2 great days of worship, 2 great days of impartation. We learned some new words. You want to tell the audience some new words? Koach. What is it? Koach? Koach. It means might. That's what we know. It's might. So Pastor Marcus Gill, man, that was my first time seeing him live. You know, we've all seen clips on social media, but just the energy that brother had, it was crazy. It was crazy.
It's interesting to have him on premises because, like you said, we've seen him on every different area you have on lives, on different things on Instagram and on Facebook. But to have the actual person that you've seen give information, impartation online, be here on premises, and not just last night, but also here this morning to share some information. It was amazing to get a different perspective, a different understanding of what and how he understands that he sees the word.
Yeah. So again, he was speaking about might. He also broke down 4 different types of light as well. So there's color, which is us having to be diverse in the kingdom. There's angle, which is intentional about how you come at people. There's intensity, which means smaller could be greater. So you could have a smaller church full of mighty people that can be better or more powerful than a bigger church necessarily. And quality, which is the pursuit of perfection. Obviously, there's only one perfect God, but we can pursue perfection. I also had some key quotes. He said, "Time flies when you're working on your faith," which
Now,
is crazy.
here's the crazy part. He was not lying. When you so locked into faith and you're so locked into how you're going to move in faith and you're studying faith, you become an avid student of the word faith and of the word. Time will fly right through because you're locked into getting this thing called manifestation out.
He also said we're atmosphere changers. He asked, "Hey, how many of you are, when you walk in a room, you change the atmosphere." But that's what we were making that declaration that we all atmosphere changers. So that hit home too, because I've been in some rooms where I come in and either gets quiet or people get happy or it depends. I've seen both sides of that, but.
And the funny part about it, I think one of the things that we've learned over this entire conversation is that we've been prepared to become atmosphere changers. That when we walk into the room and we do certain things and we flow in a certain way, the atmosphere has to command and do what we call it to do because we are the salt of the earth. So we come in and we change situations. So if we're able to do that, we're able to be atmosphere changers. Life as we know it should change in our house, in our homes, in our churches, in our communities, and everywhere that we go in our jobs. It should be that when you walk into the room, they couldn't have waited for you to show up because you're the atmosphere changer.
Yeah, and that kind of ties into quote number 3 I have. He says we are chaos cancelers. So again, I've seen both sides of that. I got 4 kids, so sometimes it'd be wrecking shop when I come in. But again, that also applies to yeah, right. Probably had that tonight when I get home. I Mimi, love you. But it was great. He also gives another word, or, which is Hebrew word for light. So that kind of backed up. He told us to research when we find a word, research in the Hebrew and the Greek as well. And I'm gonna take that to, all right, I'm gonna look up some stuff. But that definitely something that I learned. We get that from Apostle as well, but he kind of confirmed that and he broke that down. So that was really good.
I think one of the biggest things that he said was important is that we become students. We're able to dig in and not just take the surface of the word, but go home and take a look at, like you said, the Hebrew and the Greek, because it gives you a different perspective, and your understanding of what that word actually means is completely different.
All right.
You're moving and doing things in a completely different manner because my understanding, because to whom much is given, much is required. Once I know, because my parents used to say, if you know better, you should do better.
Right.
So because I know better, I'm in a place where I'm supposed to be able to do and perform at a different level because I have a different understanding.
Speaking of that, he also he mentioned he used this analogy as far as like getting gas, right? So he said, do you go to the gas station, fill up your car, and just drive around the gas station? No, you're supposed to fill up and go out. So same thing with us. We come to, or wherever your local church is, whatever, you fill up so we can go out to the world. And that's kind of, I took that like that. That made a lot of sense as well. So, yep. All right, so I just want to go over the watch winners for last night. So again, we still have our Invictus up here. Me and my big boy, we're in faith that tonight is our night.
Of the 3 watches,
Yeah,
we each get one.
yeah. So 2 is already taken. So while you're out there, there's still one
Stretching
more.
my faith out before they even pull the numbers, before they spin the wheel. 2 of the 3 are right here.
Now look, first 2 nights, Minister Rodney, he's been slightly off, so he's getting tested. It's got to be his night. Got to be.
It's all right, though. I'm stretching my faith. I'm
Right.
done.
All right. So last night we had our own Minister Minnie for the ladies brought home the watch. Shout out to her. We had Scott Adkins, Gilberto Mercado, and again our very own Derek Connor got his watch going off. So it's definitely good. So it's still time to register. Platinum, still time to win. And tonight we actually had an extra prize. They're giving away a case.
That holds up to 8 Invicta watch. See,
8.
This will be my 4th.
So you're gonna be halfway done.
I can start working the process through. So it's definitely important that I win my watch and the case tonight. So again, I'm extending my faith to make sure that I get it, to get everything taken care of for the household and make sure we have what we need. So
right, all right. Make sure you guys watch it. Make sure you guys comment. We see Miss LaWanda Osborne. Hey family, thanks for sticking with us. Appreciate it. Now let's go to today. We had Dr. Gregory Seaton. And this is my second time seeing him in person. So what was your takeaways for today? Because he was on point as usual, on point.
Yesterday morning was surgery. This morning, in my opinion, was the suturing part to get us to be able to get the suturing part done to make sure stitches are done right. That we're able to get healed. And he gave a lot of amazing points. What was your most important point for you?
Well, his title was focused on mental health. And, I'll circle back, but he broke down isolation, why it was important. When I usually think of isolation, I'm thinking, of course you think jail, hey, you on timeout, you locked up somewhere. But he broke it down to that where isolation can be purposeful. You're isolating for a reason, a positive reason. He brought down some biblical ways too, like Abraham was isolated. Adam was isolated with Jesus. So he broke it down with scripture of how isolation, you're supposed to be purposeful in your isolation as well. So
he also covered how isolation can have a negative spin to it. If you're not walking and doing what you're supposed to do, and you're drifting away from God, you're not connected to the Word. What ends up happening is that isolation puts you in a negative space where the your emotions rule and run everything that happens. So we've got to be careful at not putting ourselves in an isolation spot where we're away from the pack long enough to be able to not have an effect. The pack won't have an effect. We travel in packs. We move as a unit.
right.
If you're away from the unit too long and you're losing your intensity and your flavor, you got to get back to the unit to make sure right.
A good thing about, again, these day sessions. So his quote was, "You're not destined to be a lone wolf." And, today with the day session, all the brothers we had, it was another confirmation that we all need each other. We're not in this together. Somebody out there that has your story. There was a lot of powerful testimonies today, a lot of them. And I know I related to about half of them. I don't know about you. I was in the back of the church, and as they were testifying, I was hearing comments, "Oh, yeah, me too," or "Great." And that's what it's all about because, if people were too scared to speak, then, again, you're healing somebody else's healing might be in your mouth. So it was really great.
Now, the interesting part of that is Pastor Trev says something important. There's way too many of us in the room for you to be the only one
That's
in
right.
the situation.
Right.
So in this space, in this situation that we were in, we were able to have, when I say surgery, I lie to you not, we were able to tackle some important questions that we probably would have had buried and not really talked about because it was supposed to be Superman. We're supposed to not have a pierced armor. But now we had a chance to be able to have that conversation where we're able to not dig in and work in and flow and be able to deal with the things that we can't talk to our wives about, can't talk to our kids about,
right.
can't talk to our parents about, but we can come together and be able to have locker room style and have that conversation that's a little bit different that shows you that I'm human and I'm able to deal with some situations.
Right. So our theme this year is Call of Duty. He spoke about what is a call. He broke it down. Hey, call is an invitation to engage in a specific behavior. He broke down, hey, what we're supposed to be doing as men, to serve, to lead, to be strong. And that kind of tied in with the whole message of the whole theme of this year. And it was really good. He also talked about duty defined. He said, he who calls you to duty equips you to complete the duty. And to me, that just references the Bible. God laid it out for us. So everything is there.
Funny you say that. What I've noticed in life and as I've grown is if God, like you said, he who calls you to duty has equipped you, there's provision already put in place for those of us who are following the process and the call that God has in our lives. So God has already put some things in order for you. All you got to do is step in, and He'll take care of the rest. But the important part about it, he's looking for a willing and able vessel to be able to go out there and do the work and take care of the business that he's put before us. But he needs he needs us to be able to step up to the plate and get it done.
A quote I liked he said today is, a call is different than an opportunity. That was big to me because, I mean, again, we're here to be called. You know, we're called to duty, which means we have to go out there and do something. We have to go out there and spread our faith and be strong, and, you know, we're equipped. So that's the biggest thing for me is, you know, when we have these sessions and we're getting this knowledge and we're spreading the word and we're bonding and fellowship, and now we have to go do something about it, you know.
It's funny. Application is probably one of the biggest pieces of any of these convocations. Taking the information and becoming a library of information may seem great because knowledge is power. I'm going to take it a step further and say applied knowledge is wisdom. We're getting a chance to take that information that we've been given and now apply it. If every man takes a chance and takes the time to take the information that we're given, apply it to their lives immediately, and start seeing the ripple effect, families will change, churches will change, community will change, jobs will change. Everything around you is going to begin to change because you've applied the information. Again, knowledge is power, but applied knowledge is wisdom.
So I wanted to end with this one that he said, and this one, it was crazy. So, you know, as men, we like to, you know, push aside our problems. We like to hide it. Again, this is what this convocation is for. But what he said is, if you man up too long, it becomes man down. When he said that, I was like, that's crazy. Because, I mean, again, you need your brothers. You need, you know, that support system. And so he, you know, he was imparting, he was giving us that word of, you know, we need each other and just what we have. So it was really crazy when he said that, man. It was just, I was definitely taking notes. I definitely was blown away. I mean, you know, it was great. So
when you say if you man up too long, you'll be man down. The interesting part about it is we've been taught to man up.
Right, exactly.
It's part of what you've learned as a little boy coming up. You scrape your knee, get up, man, boy. What's wrong?
Think,
Shake it off.
think about them
Walk
Shaq
it off.
commercials. Man up.
Right. So all these things are real because we do it in sports. We do it as a child. We're on the bike. Get back up on that bike and do that. So we are taught how to man up, and the reality is we shut down that emotional side of us, and we don't really talk and share information. But what I love, like you said, about this space is we're able to come in and we're able to take the mask off and take the armor off and deal with the, like I said, the wounds. We're not putting Band-Aids on it. We're not taking the stitches and cleaning it out, taking the peroxide and everything else, cleaning it out and stitching it back up again so that we can go back out into the world and do what we're supposed to do. So it's important for us to be able to take this information and know that there's times where I need to man up. There's times where I need to have the opposite and be able to be in a place where I'm able to do what God has designed for me to do.
All right. Before I keep going, I want to get back to the chat. Sister LaWanda said it's your night tonight, Mr. Rodney. So she's confirming that for you. So
that's my sister. I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Appreciate the comment. So let's talk about tonight. Night 3. You want to let them know what's going on?
The general
Himself.
The apostle of this house, Bishop Matthew C. Haskell Jr. is going to bring the word impartation, and we're going to have prophecy, impartation, and anointing tonight. Now, here's a crazy part. What I've done is, in times past, we've had our own claws. So I brought all of mine.
All of them.
Because they all have value. And we also have the ones that we have for this year. And that's important because now I'm able to have an opportunity to be able to get that anointed, number one, as a point of contact, but also have an ability to really lock in and have that final word. See, before you leave the locker room, that final thing the chant that you say,
right?
You know, we're ready, or whatever we do, we get to that moment. It's that last breakthrough moment before you get back on the field. It's that spark that needs to take you to the next level. We've had all this information, and now we're taking it home. The head coach is about to step up and give us the last final instructions before we leave this sanctuary. So the hope and the prayer is everyone is open and prepared to listen and hear the information from the head coach. We got all the information prior to. All the coaches came before us. And now it's taking time for the head coach to give us his final instructions. That's
right. And there's still time to register. And if we could go back to that real quick. So on these prayer cloths, they have confessions as well. So they have like your future, your finances, your family, your faith. And like I said, what is this, 5 for you? 5, 6, 7. Okay. So like you said, you can go back and still reference those. But, you know, it's just, again, more armor for us to go out there and be equipped and to handle the enemy and to go out there and just live our truth and to spread the word. So Like you said, apostle tonight. And that's the thing. Last year, Bishop John, confirmed him as the apostle. And night one, Bishop John was saying he's only typing into 25%, if you remember, and that he still has to take the chains off. So, like you said tonight, I'm sure he has that word for us to go forth and for us to go win this battle. And we're also going to be sowing a great seed to him as well, laying at his feet. That's one thing I learned from last year. See, Bishop John don't play. He said, "Hey, we gonna do it the right way. So we gonna sow to our man of God, and we gonna lay it at his feet, and he gonna receive it." So
it's a tradition from Bishop Ben that we definitely honor the host of the convocation, the host of the gathering, because again, it takes a lot to undergird and get this process done and get everybody to get here and do things. So we want to make sure we're blessing to our man of God and make sure that he understands we support and appreciate everything that he's done up to this point to get us to where we are, and we want to thank him for being that vessel that leads us to victory.
yeah, we definitely want to thank him for allowing us to have this platform to share the message. We also want to thank Pastor Monica as well, the lady of the house. So thank you. We also want to mention Prophet Thornton will be here tonight, and he'll be going around the room and prophesying and doing what he does. And we also have the house prophet Matthew C. Haskell III. So for tonight, night 3. How are we gonna finish? Like, what are you in expectation for?
We're gonna end up leaving empty. I'm
empty.
You're gonna empty your tank.
Yep.
In worship.
Okay.
But you're gonna get filled with everything that you need going forward. Now, mind you, we've gotten all the strategy. We got all the information, all the necessary pieces that we have. Now, again, by sitting and being able to take the last moment to be able to get that information from Apostle, I think that's what's going to be vital. It's going to be key because it's going to turn the situation. Pastor Monica always says, if it looks like I'm losing, it's only halftime. We're about to come out of this locker room different than when we came in on Wednesday. And it was 2 short days ago.
Right.
But now we're going back, and as we go back out into our communities, into our homes, into our churches, we're going to be different, and we're going to be impactful. We're going to be the right?
Yep.
We're going to have the cry to be able to get through, right?
Yep.
But we're going to do something different. And in order for life to change, there's a saying that says, in order for your life to change, you have to change. So we're going to change here. And the propelling that we're going to have going into our next phase of life is going to give us that chance to change and transform lives in every area of life, starting with us first.
He spoke about worship too, and let me say it's nothing more powerful I've seen than being on that altar with all the brothers around. I've been up there every night, arms lifted, and just to know that I'm out there just praising God, but just to know that you have your brothers around. I mean, just I don't know how many, is it 20, 30, 40 people up there, all men. It's really powerful. Growing up, the only thing I remember growing up that was like made for men as far as this was like the Million Man March. And now that I'm a part of this church, I'm a part of this movement, to me, this is like the new Million Man March, having these convocations as far as what men can do together.
What I believe is there's a difference when men come together and decide to do something different.
Mm-hmm.
Over lunch, I was having a conversation with a brother, and we were talking about how we as a culture can create this culture where men are kingdom men first before they pick up any other title. You have who you are as a person, but you're a kingdom man first, and that kingdom man dictates everything in regards to your life.
Right.
So we're now in a chance where we can create that culture, leaving this space and infecting every area of our lives to a different capacity, to the point where when people look back and say, you've been to the convocation, man,
right.
You're different.
Something different
and
about you.
Can tell there's a DNA that's different about who we are,
right?
And we'll trace it back to being in a place like this, we're taking time away from our families, time away from our jobs, to be able to be in a place where we can get refilled. There was a filling station. We were refilled to be able to go back and do what God's called us to do. Yeah,
it's great. Like we talked about earlier. It's nothing if we don't fill up and go out. We can't hold information to ourselves. It starts at home with our households, but we also got to go out there. So it's definitely looking forward to tonight. Like I said, again, I just want to thank everybody. I want to thank you again for being, my big brother and, having this hosting duty and having some fun.
Listen, I wouldn't have it any other way. There's a lot that's moving and happening. I believe, again, that this part, when we get deployed out, after we talk with Bishop and we get that conversation, that close proximity with Bishop, we get that what we
need. You hear something?
That process. Wait, I'm here. I hear something.
You hear something?
Hold on.
You hear that?
It sounds like there's a rumbling, something that's happening.
Uh-oh.
The transformation is about to happen. I can hear the rumbling in the atmosphere. It is 6:59. So within less than 30 seconds, we're going to impact and change exactly what's going to happen in the sanctuary. I can hear the rumbling. I can hear the drums beating. I can hear the music playing. We're about to have an amazing opportunity to shift the atmosphere of what's going on at Prevailing Church International. So I'm going to tell you guys, get ready. If you haven't gone to the bathroom, you better hold on. It might not be, you might have to wait to the end of it. It's
Facts.
about to be something amazing going on. We definitely want to make sure that we're having that time with God. And I can honestly tell you, it's going to be something different because everyone's wearing it's t-shirt night. Everyone's wearing the camouflage. So there's something different about being in that atmosphere where you're going to see everyone in their dog tags, in their camouflage, and being able to be in front of God and have that worship that's different from anything I've ever seen. So I'm trusting that if you're on the scene, do yourself a favor. Grab a notebook, grab a pen, do whatever you have to do to make sure that you have all the information that you need. Because, again, what I've learned from Bishop, God's not obligated to repeat himself. This is going to be a destiny intersection for all of us. And we're going to learn something different by being at the feet of Apostle to learn the information. Take your notes. Take whatever you need. Get a bottle of water. Whatever you have to have for this to be different. Get ready because it's about to change for you. Any closing words?
I just want to thank everybody for watching. You just mentioned take your notes. I don't know what page I'm on, 10, 11, 12. I know you do 4 pages at a time. So, hey, I ain't we ain't playing that here. But I'm just glad. Shout out to Kevin Cruz. We see you. Tony Allen, thanks for joining us. But like I said, everybody just buckle your seatbelts and open your hearts. That's all I can say.
Again, I can hear the music. It's almost transformational to hear the rumbling because you know this is the last one. So this is that last pep rally before we go out to the game or the last
We
time
about to run through the tarp.
before we go out. It's about to get crazy.
Run through the
It's
tarp.
about to change and transform. So we're asking everybody, if you're here, if you're able to be on the screen, if you're able to get to the building, if you can make it here, make it here. I would do whatever it takes to get to this place because it's going to be something that's going to change the way your world is. I am super excited and I can't wait for what's going to happen here. I'm going to check in with our sound team to make sure everything's good on the other end and see what we're able to do. Let me take a look here. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, so we, like he said, just buckle up, get ready for tonight. It's going to be a great night, night 3. It seemed like this week has been going by real fast. Seemed like we just had so much information. We're just trying to apply it, and we're good to go. How you feeling?
I'm ready. I'm definitely ready.
We ready to go. We ready to get out there. That's why I'm ready to get to the altar. I'm ready to put my hands up. That's what it is.
I just heard from Simon. We have 5 minutes, 5 more minutes. Now listen.
Okay.
What was, if you would have to say, your greatest takeaway before you even hearing Apostle tonight? What is your greatest takeaway or your greatest lesson on the Convocation this year? Because you were one last year, one the year before. This is so. What does that look like for you?
I think biggest takeaway is that we all are the light. Like we're the light for somebody else, so we're supposed to go shine out there. When God created the world, of course, He made light, but that also applies to us. So I think the quote is, I think Apostle says it, we might be the only Bible that somebody reads, or he spoke about us being billboards for people. So for me, it's just getting this information and applying it. You had mentioned application earlier. Just going out there, just doing our duty. It's our duty to be leaders. Leadership is our duty. So that's what I'm coming into, and that's what I'm confirming, and that's why I'm here. So
funny you say that because you never get a light and put it under a bed. You always put a light. You're able to see it. It sounds crazy, but for a long time we were able to. We put ourselves in a place where we were not seen. We didn't want to be up front. As guys, we didn't really want to be the show guys, or we don't want to be the ones always in front.
Right.
But it's time for us to take our rightful place, because once we take our rightful place in the home, then everything outside the home now becomes better. Once we stand up to be kingdom men, when our feet hit the ground, we learned it with Dr. Tony Evans. When our feet hit the ground, the devil was supposed to say, "Oh crap, they're up again."
He's up.
And here's what's going to happen. So we got to be in that space where we're preparing for what's going to happen. We're coming out the gate and we're doing what's necessary. We're transforming our area. We're making sure that we're correct. Our horizontal relationship with God is right. So we're able to do our vertical relationship with God is right. So that whatever we do horizontally is able to be right. So we have to focus on working that out. Take notes. If it means that on tomorrow, when you get a quiet time, go over your notes and find what are 3 or 4 things that I can do until the next convocation that will help transform my life and apply that to make sure life is different.
I'm glad you said that because my next thing, one of my notes was Dr. Seaton. He had some notes about isolation. When one thing I wrote down, he said, "Is your isolation born out of a desire to be and do better?" And I'm take that hard. Just hey, we have to study the word more. Have a relationship with the text. So one of the topics today, as far as men, having disagreements with your wife, or hey, you might be, not really want to speak with somebody. And we talked about that not being right, but when you isolate for a reason to do better, not because you're ashamed of something or you didn't complete something or you trying to go to bed angry. So that was one of the takeaways for me as well. Just the isolation piece that was really big.
Let's not make the effort of Bishop Benjamin and Apostle Haskell in vain. Let's take this information and really focus on making sure we're doing the necessary things for lives to change. Let's not just waste the time. Let's not just be in the whole other convocation that we came to where there was no yielding, there was no information, there was no fruit coming out of it. Make it so that when you're able to get it. Don't forget it's $10. $10 for MP4 or MP3 download. Now, mind you, if you're smart, you get $20. You get both. Okay, but the reason being is you want to now create drive time university. When you're in your car, be able to listen to it. When you're on your lunch break, be able to listen because now what would happen if for the next 90 days we spent time really focusing and digging in and learning and relearning the information, taking our own personal notes because now we have it on MP4. I can push pause and take notes and not go apply. I can push pause, take notes, and go apply. What would happen if we took the time that we took out of this convocation and focused on the next 90 days of really digging in and making it happen and finding things that we want to do to make our lives different? There should be testimonials coming out of here saying, wait a minute, I don't know what happened after Convocation 2023.
Right.
My husband's different. My brother's different. My father's different. My son's different. Something has to be different, and it has to be evident because we came from a convocation, a holy gathering for our lives to change.
I want to bring up some Pastor Marcus Gill said yesterday when he spoke about teaching all nations. Now, when I read that, I was thinking probably a lot of people thinking different countries, international. But he broke it down to us and me as your nation is where you dwell. So starting with your house, the barbershop, the gas station, Wawa, the grocery store. We have to teach where we dwell at. And hearing this revelation for me, I was like, wow, like that's a great place to start.
Well, again, as we talk with the or. So it being the or, we're the only Bible that people may see in a day.
Yep.
They may see in a week, may see in a month, may see in a lifetime. We may be the only version of the Bible that they're able to see and communicate with and make changes. So it's important for us to be able to focus and dial in and make the impact that's necessary for them to be able to see, wait a minute, these guys are walking different. I don't have to browbeat you with the Bible. I just have to live the Bible and make it to the point where they see it coming out of me and say, wait a minute, what makes you so different? We're so different because of what's happening in our lives.
All right. I'm telling you, man, I hear the praise and worship team through the wall. I'm ready to run out there and, worship. But, man, so what about you? What was your biggest takeaway? If you could narrow it down to one. Like I said, I know you got a notebook full of scribble, scrabble. And
it's time to do our job.
There we go.
Do our job. It's time to go out and do what we got to do.
There we go.
I hear the sound team say 10 seconds.
Okay.
It's our countdown. Are you guys ready for an amazing night number 3 for the Holy Convocation 2023? Get ready. I promise you, your life won't be different. Will be different the moment you apply the information. Get ready. It's about to go down in next 5 seconds. Get ready, guys.
Grace and peace.
I promise you, it's going to be amazing. Have an amazing rest of your night.
Thank you.
Take care. God bless.
Thanks for watching.
For reviving our souls, God. Oh, God, speak to our hearts. Make our hearts ready, God. God, we want to be fertile ground on tonight. our hearts, oh God. Speak to our minds, oh God. Speak to our situations, Lord. Oh God. Hey. Oh Lord God.